All right, guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Adam, aka the Plant Power Coach, and today we have a special guest called Nikki. Nikki, how are you doing today?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me on.
I
Very
I
excited.
want to say a huge thank you for spending time out of your day to do this. Hopefully that we can spread the message, spread your message, spread your story, and reach out to anyone who has some sort of familiarities with you and can align with who you are and where you're going in life. So, in line with that. My first question is, without going into any specific questions, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and what your story is.
Okay, so from the fitness point of view, I used to play basketball for years, and then I didn't do any sports for a long time, but I had like a quite good base, I'd say, because of the level I was on. And then I wanted to lose weight, but I was doing a lot of cardio. I wasn't really seeing any results, and I was doing the
Mm,
typical female thing and scared of the weight room. There was a weight room. I'd walk in, I'd walk out. I was just didn't know what was what.
mm,
And I had a bodybuilder show me the ropes, literally show me everything, and I was hooked from day one. Absolutely loved it, and that's my story. But it's not linear. I've been doing intense bodybuilding and then I stepped away for a few years, but now I'm back on and now I'm at competitive level now.
mm. So that's from the fitness side of things. I'm also interested to see the sort of vegan side of things as well. So from
So,
a vegan point of view, like how long have you been vegan? Like what have been the major influences for you and how do you spread your message?
okay, so I was vegetarian for many years as
Mm,
a teenager, but I was really not doing it for animals or any reason, but it was just an easy diet for
yep.
me, just to cut things out. And I didn't really see much difference in what I was doing, but it was a vegan that pointed out to me that the dairy industry and the egg industry and all this stuff, because I wasn't very, you know, I didn't know that all of the horrible things were going on, and they
Mm,
really shocked me when I found out, and it was very instant for me.
yeah.
As soon as I realized the suffering,
Yeah.
that was it, you know. But when I started bodybuilding, that changed because I was naive and I thought, you needed animal protein to get
Yep.
protein and to get to build muscle. So I was very much influenced by bodybuilders that were just doing the normal thing,
Mm,
and it took me off my path for quite a while. But it never sat right with me, and I knew that I didn't want to do this. Looked into it, found amazing athletes who are vegan, and then looked into it, and obviously found that you can do it perfectly fine. So I've been vegan now for just over 7 years, pure
mhm,
vegan. But I would say I went from vegetarian to being plant based, thinking that was vegan,
mm,
not doing it for the animals, then going completely non vegan, and then now I'm back full
yeah.
vegan. So that's why when people say to me, "Oh, you should eat steak," or "Why don't you have some bacon?" and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, I've tried it.
Yeah.
It's not for me. I've already been there, and I didn't actually build more muscle doing it. So
Mm.
there's no logic for me, even if we took the animals out of the equation, but the animals are more important to me. So that's the reason why for me.
Exactly. These chats that I have with people are so fascinating because regardless of who I speak to, it being vegan, they're all kind of in line, they're all on the same page, but they all come from a different background and they all come
Yeah.
from a different sort of like the steps that they went through, you know. So yours is a very, very unique one and I applaud you on that. So well done and congratulations on your 7 years veganuary anniversary.
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to go into the sort of specifics because a lot of people are going to be interested to know what you eat, what your training looks like. And I said this to
Yeah.
John yesterday, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. You know, just because I do it doesn't mean you have to do it. At the same time, I
Yeah.
think it's great for people to get an insight of what your eating looks like, of what your training looks like. Yeah, so give us a little bit of an insight on that.
Okay. I see it as my second job. I
Yep,
really want to go pro, and the same as John. We're very serious about what we do, and
yep,
my social life is very diminished because my training and my eating and everything comes first. But what I
mm,
do eat is quite basic. My coach lays it out for me. But when it comes to the protein, he allows me to kind of choose where I want it to come
yep,
from. When I first went vegan, it was very much the tofu, the beans, and all this.
yep,
But I'm a mock meat girl. I
Yeah,
love,
yeah, yeah.
I love that. It's easy. You can find some low carb, high protein pieces that do the job, and you can cook normally. But for me, I'm very basic. I
Yeah,
don't try and do anything fancy, and that's what I was talking to John about recently. Is like
yeah.
the vegans that do all the green smoothies and the yoga and all this. I respect them. I love them, but that's not my lifestyle.
Mm,
That's not what I relate to. You
yeah.
know, I relate to people who go to the gym and want to put on muscle, and what I do for my diet is really basic. So we have greens, we have the protein, which will look like a meat, and then we have some sort of carb source, which is whole food. So
Hmm.
a potato, a grain, a piece of bread. That's it, really.
Yeah.
It's quite basic.
Is it safe to say that your approach is obviously encompassing veganism, but flexible dieting, like if it fits your macros? Is that essentially what you strive for?
Not at the moment, because I'm reversing out
Yep.
of a cut that I've done. So in order to optimize this window that we have, where the body is like really receptive,
Mm,
it's very restrictive what I'm doing. But I think in about 4 more weeks or so, then we'll start doing the macro based. So being
yep.
a bit more up to me what I want to eat. But
Yep.
just at the moment, it's such a delicate, like, fine line where we can
Mm,
really, get some good growth. So there's no point in messing around.
yep.
So it's quite restricted at the minute. I do have a one cheat meal a week, which I
Yep.
do with friends. We had burgers and ice cream the other day, which was amazing. But yeah, I pretty much eat the same stuff every
Yeah.
day. So oats with protein powder, a bit of peanut butter, and then I'll have my 3 chicken meals
Yep.
with rice and some spinach. It's mega basic, but I love
Yeah.
it. It works for me.
I love that. The macro side of things, like I think we've definitely covered some of that from a training point of view, and I like the specifics. Like, what's the training split look like for you? Is it bro splits? Is it like
Pretty
what's your
much.
yeah, bro splits?
Pretty much.
Is it Monday International Chest Day?
It is.
Yep.
It is. At the moment, I'm actually only training 4 days a week, again, to
Yep.
just optimize the the opportunity I've got to
Yep.
put on the muscle on, and because the body has been so exhausted from the sort of prep thing that I was doing, lots of time to rest, to recover.
Yep.
That's when a lot of people forget that you need to do that for the muscle to grow.
Yep.
So 4 days a week, chest day, and then we've got 2 leg days, and then we have
Yep.
a full day. So it's basically push, quads, pull, and then hams and glutes and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. But usually it's legs, push, pull, rest, and then upper and lower.
Yep.
When I go back 5 days a week, and it suits me perfect.
That's amazing. So Nikki, the way I found you, for anyone who's watching as well, I actually found you obviously through doing a bit of a video interview style with John. And the first thing that kind of stood out to me, besides your muscles as well, is the tattoos, the green eyes, which to me was like, whoa, this chick's awesome. I'm curious how that kind of ties into your lifestyle as a bodybuilder, because as far as I'm aware, even people like Rich Piana would talk about it quite a lot. How does it affect not just obviously being really out there and grabbing people's attention, but how does it affect your second job, your bodybuilding?
Okay, so I work in the body art industry.
Yep.
So that's always been who I've been. That's just, I don't know anything different.
Yep.
I did start toning things down at one point.
Mm,
So I've obviously been bodybuilding for 10 years, and I was very much taking piercings out, and I was
mm,
having normal hair color, and I was having tattoo removal, and I was just like trying to fit into something that wasn't really me.
yep.
And I was like, what am I doing this for? Who am I trying to
Mm,
please? Right. And then since then, it's exploded with all sorts of categories in different federations where,
yeah.
they're celebrating tattooed
Yeah.
figures, and it's changed a lot in 10 years.
Yep.
Like I used to look different. Like pretty much every girl has got neck tattoos now that,
Mm,
we see online all everywhere.
mm,
So, and also with the tan on, it does unify,
yep.
the physique. So I've been on stage with the tan, and it's looked fine. So I'm not too fussed about it. But I have taken some facial piercings out, for
Yep.
example, and I think on show day you do don't tone it down. You're not
Yep.
going to wear you're not
Yep.
going to wear all that stuff. But I'm sort of just in the category that I'm going to be in. It's very much take us as we are. We're the big girls, you know. We're going to come with everything,
Yeah.
and so I'm not gonna shrink myself down
Yeah.
anymore. I'm just gonna be who I am and hope for the best. Like
I I love that. I don't think there's anything more important than just being who you are. I think that's the
it's gonna
uh,
come through, isn't it? Yeah, it's gonna shine
exactly.
out of you. And I think it also
Exactly.
shines out of you if you're trying to fit into something that you're not. And I think people will pick up on this um this this dishonesty almost. Like you need to
Yeah.
be authentic, right? Because if you're trying to be someone you're not, you can't live like that for ages because it will
Mm,
just it doesn't work.
exactly.
So
Go
yeah,
on.
just turning down
Yeah,
doesn't work. So but,
absolutely. That was probably the one different question I have with John's interview yesterday as well. So obviously the tattoo aspect. I did obviously talk to you a bit beforehand over Instagram, which was fantastic to get to know you that way. And
mhm.
obviously understanding how excited you are for this call today. And understanding if there were anything you didn't want to talk about. And I do appreciate the fact that these conversations are all about transparency in order to
Yeah.
educate people. So my next
Mhm.
question is really simple. Are you natural?
Mm. Nothing about me is natural. If I started claiming that now, that's you know what, I didn't have any role models as such. Even the people who were so obviously assisted, they were always swerving that question,
Mm,
and I was like, it's bullshit, really. Excuse my
mm,
language. I'm sure we're gonna have to bleep that out, but um, no one's gonna look like someone who's been training for 10 years overnight.
yeah,
These sort of things will not really make a big difference unless you do all the other aspects. Okay. But there's no way you're gonna have a physique like this as a
mm,
female.
mm,
It's just impossible unless you're some freak,
mm,
right? Which do exist. And
mm,
sorry, freaks, but it's just not normal. But I like this look. I
yeah,
want to do well. And I'm also doing it because we need vegans to be in every nook and cranny of the world, in every we need to be
yeah,
represented everywhere. And
mm,
there might be loads of vegans who don't agree with what I'm saying and who
yeah,
I am, but the thing is that that's not what I'm not here to please vegans. I'm here to hopefully inspire someone who's a non-vegan to see that you can do it this way.
mm,
That's more important to me, and that's why I think it's important to represent in every way. So
mm,
no, I'm not at all. I'm not on a lot. I'm not going to
mm,
pretend that I'm some big shot because I'm not. You don't have to use a lot either, but no.
yeah,
And I'm open about it. Always have been. I think that's the best way, really.
yeah, absolutely. That's really important. What would you say to just in tying into that question? Let's assume, I'm sure you probably have these sort of things in person. From a practical sense, people watching you, you probably reach more people. So what would you say to someone who's watching this video right now who has potentially looked up to you and said, I want to be like her? What is your advice to that person?
Be yourself, first of
Mm,
all. You can't be like someone else. You can get inspired for sure. If this is something that you want to do, then
mm,
there's loads you need to do before you even go to that extreme.
yeah,
I think it's super important to get a coach from the beginning who can help you at the level that you're at and
yeah,
optimize and maximize the potential you have as a natural athlete
yeah,
way before you even start thinking about anything
mm,
else. Ideally, I get people asking me, especially females, that ask me, "Oh, I'm going on holiday in 12 weeks. Can I just get some of this stuff and whatever? Should I do this?" And I'm like, "Don't touch it.
mm,
Unless you're competing and you've exhausted every other aspect of your training, you
yeah,
shouldn't be even considering it because it's big risk.
yeah,
It's not something that is, you've got to
mm,
think about it. You've got to take that risk. It can have a permanent effect.
yeah,
Um, so, like the voice, for example, that's an
mm,
obvious thing that comes along with it. And there are other side effects that I wouldn't wish on anybody unless they were really serious about what they want to do with their training and where they're going to go with it. But I would say, just stay in your lane, enjoy what you're doing, maximize it, get someone who's a professional to help you.
Yeah.
So you're doing it right. You're not wasting time like I did. I was going around in circles doing rubbish. You know, I didn't know what I was going to eat. I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know,
Yeah.
you know, training and all this stuff. So I needed help with all of it. But as soon as I did, I really started to pick up and I escalated, you know, and that's what I think people need to focus on,
Yeah.
getting the basics right first, for
If I
sure.
if I were to use an analogy, it's a little bit like someone wanting to become, let's say, a Formula One driver without learning how to drive a car. You know, like let's
Yeah,
go through the steps first, and then once we reach that point, you know, these
yeah.
things can have risk, but you know, we want to make sure that you are being yourself, like you said, like so important. So in the context of I want to kind of just start off by talking about John's the conversation I had with John yesterday. A big topic that came up with veganism is that he had lots and lots of support from his family because his whole transition happened when he was just 13. And I think
Yeah.
that's really, really difficult from a vegan point of view for a 13-year-old who doesn't have supportive family, especially if they've been convinced that, you know, we need meat, dairy, and eggs. So from the fitness point of view, as well as sorry, the fitness point of view and the vegan point of view, how do the people close to you feel about your lifestyle in context to those two things?
Um, well, my parents are no longer alive, but they were both quite accepting of me
Mm,
when I was a vegetarian. You know, there was no problem. We just put those bits in the shopping basket. But I'm very privileged because I've always lived in bigger towns and
yeah,
in the Western world where we've got access to everything. So I've never struggled on that part really. My brother doesn't quite get it.
yeah.
We've had some interesting conversations. But we've just we just agree to disagree because otherwise it's just knuckle the
Going in
knuckleheads.
circles.
Yeah. But most of my friends now in my social life, they are vegan themselves.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends in the fitness industry who aren't vegan and they respect me for what I do and I respect them for what they do.
Mm,
Um, but I do get IFBB pros that come to me that like, we can't believe you're vegan. Like this
mm,
is crazy. This blows our mind, and that excites me because that's where I want to go,
yeah.
and that's why I want to just stir it up a little bit.
I love that. In line with that question as well, you know, John said that bodybuilding is his form of activism. Would you agree with
Yes,
that? Would you align with that?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I
Well,
saw. I actually saw that he said that yesterday,
mm,
me and him were talking the same thing, and yeah, it is very much. But I believe in it so much.
yeah.
I believe that I can be up there with the best.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
that sort of determination and that sort of mindset is new
Mm,
because I just wanted to do well as a vegan, but now I want to be up and be now I want to be the best. That's how I
yeah.
feel. So there's this whole shift with us both where we like, no, we want to aim for the top,
Yeah.
like, and we want to do anything it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm all in, like, so I'm excited about this next year. So I'm going to be growing big, and then we're going to see what happens next year,
Yeah.
and then the stage will tell us what we need to do from there. But it's we're aiming for NPC for sure.
That's amazing. I really look forward to seeing the updates on that as well. I know he's John's 16 weeks out, according to him, I
Yeah,
think he said. So that's amazing. You've kind of answered a little bit of my next question. You're talking about the sort of friends and let's call them your circle, the people around you. I want to kind of add your coach into the mix as well on this. Do you have
yeah.
any non-vegan friends in your life? And if so, what do you think of them?
The thing is, I don't judge people from that,
Yep.
right? I think people are good person. I Yeah, that doesn't bother me. I don't think
Mm,
it's about trying to influence people. People will be influenced if they
mm,
want to.
mm.
I'm not going to not be friends with someone just because they're not vegan.
Yeah,
I just think that mindset doesn't work.
absolutely.
Um, I used to be militant. I used to, and I
Mm,
just found like that actually just made me an angry person
mm.
and didn't help at all. Um, but no, what do I think of them? I think I wish they were vegan, obviously.
Yeah.
I wish everyone was. But I just think by living by example, maybe you can influence them to start considering. But I'm not as I don't think I'm as active as I used to be when it comes to it. I
Yeah.
am starting to be again, just
Mm.
because I spent so much time educating and educating and educating, and I was just like, oh, just need a breather. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Kind of like the reverse to that question, not the reverse, because obviously friends are close to you, people you care about, people you love. People you may not love are trolls on the internet. So
yeah.
how do you handle anti-vegan trolls both online and in person, assuming you actually get any? Because I don't
Well, I
know.
used to get, yeah, I used to
Yeah.
get a lot, but then I used to hang out with more uh, uh, yeah, more extreme people, shall we say. I used to do like the save movement and that sort of stuff. And I don't know, I was very good. I was very well informed.
Yeah.
I did my research and I had an answer for everything. And I was relentless. So, I wouldn't give up on someone, but I wouldn't be rude to them unless they were actually, being
Mm,
horrible. And that was why I was spending hours every night educating people and just coming back with more stuff when they were throwing these things at me and these surveys and all of this science. And then it's like, well, who's done the science? And I'd make them go and look. And obviously it's sponsored by some
mm.
company that, is a meat distributor or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, just look beyond. And I'd come out with all the different health data, and
Yeah.
they would I would get people messaging me inbox and go, oh, I'm actually quite interested, because it usually is the one that's the loudest. That's the one that's almost there. So you can
Yeah.
just gently push them over the edge. So I spend a lot of time doing that. I feel like I've paid my dues on that part. But I don't mind them, because I do feel that they're triggered for a reason. And if we
Yeah.
can be sensitive and we can give them the info they need to think and plant the seed, then the job's done. Because that's how it came across to me from that
Mm,
vegan who was angry about me not doing the whole picture. And I didn't know, I was ignorant,
yeah.
right? And then beginning you get upset because you're like, no, I'm right. But then you go, maybe I wasn't. But you don't want to say that out loud. You don't want to do it in public.
Yeah.
So you need to give people space to actually realize and swallow their pride. And then they come later when they're ready, right?
Exactly.
And that's why it's important that we represent in so many different ways, because we are gonna influence so many different. But feel free, if you're a troll and you're watching this, come at me.
Not in
I'm
person though.
ready. I'm not scared. I'll bore them to death though,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
have all of the data. One of those geeks that likes to really research it. And but yeah, I mean, I get it more for the bodybuilding. I get it more for the bodybuilding. Oh, you look like a man. It's like, oh, how original.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's fine. I don't mind. They can do it if they want. It helps the algorithm.
I
It's
love you.
not a problem
I
for
love
me.
your attitude to that. You've mentioned it a couple of times already, and I heard this kind of example, this analogy, which is like the only way to plant a seed is by essentially breaking down the gravel, the soil. And it's such a great analogy because like we need to kind of make a mess or stir things up a little bit so that we can plant the seed. So when these people are getting agitated or going crazy, like I made one post, like it's probably my most viral post about
Yeah,
drinking pig's milk or horse's milk, and it triggered so many people, and they were just commenting. Like there's like 150 comments on there. It's insane. And
yeah.
every part of my conversation was just like, this is such a progressive thing for these people, I think. So yeah, that's fantastic.
But I mean, we mess up sometimes. But
Yeah,
then I think we're learning as well of how we can answer that question better each time.
exactly.
It's
Exactly.
it's an educational thing. At the beginning, when I started, I was annihilated a lot of the time, and that's why I was like, right, I'm going to know everything
Exactly.
so that I can represent. Because I mean, I would reach out to vegans who aren't ready to do that sort of thing and to say, don't start until you are, because
Yeah.
you are doing it. I'm doing it for the animals,
Yep.
and you're not doing the animals any service if you don't have the data ready,
Yep.
because then everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, look, you can't,
Mm,
they don't know what they're on about. So I think wait until you're educated enough,
mm.
or have a friend that you can tag so they can take over or something, so you have that
Yeah.
backup,
For
because people
anyone
can be
watching,
so
Yeah,
You'd
go on.
be really
For anyone watching as well, we interviewed George from Carnism Debunked, and he's got a website, and he literally the whole website, well, no, not the whole website, most of the website is how to handle conversations with people
cool.
arguing circle of life, bacon though, or like how to
Oh
handle
yeah.
these conversations. And like he's got an index essentially. All you have to do is just click on it and it's done. Like it's
Amazing.
just it's amazing. Like it's so good. I
That's so
checked it out
cool.
and I was like, why have I not seen this before? Um,
That's amazing.
Nikki, you've been amazing. I've got one more question for you, which is
Yeah.
very similar to John. You've covered a lot of it already, but I do want to
So
get
much.
through this question. And it's basically if you could go back and talk to your younger self, or potentially someone who just reminds you of you, what would you say to them based on everything we've discussed today, or from what you know now?
Ooh, that's a good one. If they showed any interest, then I'd basically ask them to just look into my life and follow me for a day and see
Mm,
how it goes. And also, I think even though veganism is more than diet, I'd say just allow them to taste all the good flavors and understand how to find the products because I
mm,
think it can be overwhelming at the beginning.
yeah,
But I would say just enjoy life and look after animals and just connect with your heart source so
yeah.
you know that we're all part of a beautiful thing and we don't want to harm anything, we just want to have a good time and that comes natural. I think as soon as you realize that a sentient being like and they are as well, and then we should leave them all alone, and I think that's just be one beautiful thing. That's what
That
I would say. Yeah,
That is
pretty
so
much.
amazing. That's like I love the last bit, and also in particular, I really like the fact that if you're new to the vegan space, especially even people who aren't necessarily vegan yet, try different products. You're not bound to like all products, just like you're not bound to like all animal-based products. Get
Mhm.
out there, try different things. So that's fantastic. Nikki, thank you so much for your time. Again,
Okay.
if one kind of like tiny sign off, where can people find you? Like, what's your social media? What's your website? I'm going to put it all in the description, but quick, tell us.
Yeah, cool. So Niki Yeadon, bodybuilder, that's me. And
Mm.
I also have a shop called Niki Crystal Point Piercing where I do vegan piercings for everyone.
I love it. I love it. So
So,
again, anyone watching, I'm going to put that all in the description. I'll get Nikki to
thank-
send that across. And yeah, thank you so much again for your time, Nikki.
no worries. You can hit me up anytime.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.